So right now I'm in a study room where, everybody goes and studies. But I don't want to talk about the accolades and all these other cool things I've earned as a result of doing very important things here. I mean, like, for example, I did 2 law finals here, one of which was just like a paper that I had to write. And then the other one was this online thing that I had to make sure I was secluded and isolated to get done. I passed those classes, fortunately, but I can't help but talk about the times when this room, in spite of giving me these accolades, made me miserable as fuck. Like, I feel like that's a conversation that I really desire, because they say that when you study in spaces like these, you get more locked in. That's half true. I feel like when you lock in, you are usually in a flow state, you're in the zone, and you get these things done. But no one ever talks about the latter half or consequences about these types of spaces. I feel like one of these consequences is self-analysis. You get to a secluded area like this and you think about yourself. You have nobody else to talk to. Everybody loves talking about themselves. I don't see why that doesn't correlate. But anyways, you get self-analytical and it's just a mess from there on out. Like, you start thinking about your past, you start thinking about the mistakes you made with these people that aren't in your life anymore, people that you just lost, people that you realize in the pursuit you must do it for those that you just lost. And I feel like there's something a lot more meaningful to measure or study in the middle of being in these types of spaces than you would with whatever assignment is in front of your laptop that you're studying on in this thing. I feel like there's a better way to explain this, but this is as far as I'm getting right now. I mean, what do I know? I'm only a year 3. Anyways, a lot of bad things happen to good people. That could be true, that could be not true, but I want to focus more on when bad things happen to people who are trying their best to not keep being bad. The matter of redemption is such a hard path, and I feel like it's actually a path more notable than the average hero's journey. You have this hero and, he's got to start from humble beginnings or nowhere, and he's got to work his way up to climb the ranks to become something greater than himself or to contribute to something greater than himself. We have seen this a million times and I'm sick of it. I want to look at the stories of those who are downtrodden, who didn't get a lucky start. Maybe those akin to, a transfer student. The guy has awful circumstances. Either he fails high school or he couldn't afford higher education such as this. And then he works his way up to get to the playing field. Not even like the best of but just the playing field for what the average hero was already getting. I feel like if there was more emphasis on that, we'd get along a lot more easier in practicing and preaching empathy. I feel like stories of those who have, in their youth at least, committed wrongs, whether it's crimes or fallouts with friends for being either a bad person or just a narcissist or whatever, or individuals that feel guilty about their losses, like maybe they lost a friend to suicide, or maybe they lost somebody because they didn't console them fast enough to stop them from doing very bad things, such as dying in a shootout, committing crime, getting caught, or getting in police custody. We don't really see a lot of comeback stories for that. Which brings me to a very important thing I learned from, ironically enough, one of the funniest people I've ever seen. Adam Sandler tells us that there are no underdogs. There are the winners and there are the overlooked champions. I really resonate with that, and I enjoy every time saying that to people that I come into contact with for the first time. I feel like by saying this, there's a brand new idea and framework put all over how we think about the people we love and ourselves, and like not just in contrast to those who just want to be the unsung hero who has his humble beginnings, you know what I mean? And so I just feel like these days, that's all you really should be doing. You should be practicing empathy towards these people who have had miserable beginnings or just bad luck, and then see what you could do, see how you can imply your thinking onto them on a level that, number one, make sure that they never forget you, because everybody that you come into contact with is meaningful as hell. And number two, impacts their life in a way that they are so glad they came across. So like, had they not, they probably would have been worse off or probably still stuck in the same position. I get the feeling that, unfortunately, this won't be happening anytime soon. We won't be seeing people, especially under this administration, like trying their best to practice empathy overall towards people that are already struggling. Everybody is struggling. That's the main issue. Like, my problems are here too, your ones are right here. The good ones will mostly tell you more than half the time, I understand you got problems, but I got mine too. So we're equal in that sense. No one ever really contains the bravery or the courage to actually help those people. I'm a firm believer that I don't really think it's enough that you put a man or a woman, whoever, into, you try to put them on a pedestal to make sure they help themselves. I feel like first and foremost, firmly, you ask them if they just need help. If they need your lending helping hand. And I feel like once you get that step done to anybody that you feel compassion for, you relate to, there will be a lot more meaningful connections made as a result. I don't know who else has ever preached that. I also don't, much less know who else has ever practiced that. I also don't have any empirical data on whether or not I could be right in when people do that, things happen on a very important degree to a point where we can actually start considering doing that more often than not. But the point is, I feel like presenting such an idea is such a good groundwork for this. That's why I'm making this video. That's also why I feel like I'm entitled to make it, because now I'm starting to think this is a tradition. You know, these quarter ends, or I'm done with one quarter of school, and then I feel like I have to analyze what the hell just happened. What the fuck just happened? That was a weird ass quarter, I'm not gonna lie. But what's more central is that I got out of it alive. Again. Like, I actually got good grades. I know that I passed my finals. In a second, I have to go to a meeting to debate the grade that I know I earned, which is an A-. And then I'm just gonna go home for about a week or two, and then the cycle repeats anew for another quarter. I don't know what I'm gaining from saying these things. I just know that it's fun. It keeps me busy, which is something that has saved me so many goddamn times from trouble, whether from others or onto myself. And once we start doing more, not meta-analytical, but once we start doing more reviews on the ways in which we act, or we look back on situations, you know, there's probably a better route or ladder to climb in regards to how we want to become the people we don't even know yet we want to become. I think once we do that, there will be more openness indirectly, like as like a consequence indirectly, and there will also be more opportunities for compassion. And once that door is open, well then, love is all you need.